Hey everyone, it's Dave here.
And it's Tom as well.
So today we're taking a look at performance in Resident Evil 6 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and we're comparing this with the Xbox 360 version.
Yeah, so not a great performer back in the day, was it? And it looks like PS4 and Xbox One seem to rectify a lot of those frame rate issues, mainly the moving it from 30 to 60 FPS. And yeah, that seems to be the case. How have you found playing it?
I have to say, I wasn't expecting Capcom to actually put out this remaster at 1080p 60 based on the metrics we saw for the GameCube remasters, which were capped at 30 FPS, I believe.
Yeah, and it's good that they've gone this route rather than simply bunging it up on the backwards compatibility list for, say, Xbox One. We've got a kind of proper remaster effort here, and it kind of defies expectation. You know, we're not getting a straight 30 FPS experience as was how it was originally presented. It's nice that they've optimized it as best they could to bring it to full 60.
Yeah, and it's a massive improvement. Basically, we're looking at native 1080p on both consoles, and for the most part we get a locked 60 FPS for extended periods. Or in the case of PlayStation 4, it is solid 60 throughout, and the difference it makes for gameplay is huge. One of the problems I had with the last gen versions of the game was that the uneven frame rate caused sort of spikes in latency. So when you're trying to aim, the controls aren't very sort of fluid. They're constantly fluctuating.
Yeah, we're looking at 25-ish around that area, which isn't good for a shooter. And I noticed the Xbox One version is perhaps not as great a performer as PS4, despite both holding 1080p. We're going to see some drops to about 55, I believe, later in the video.
Yeah, basically in more demanding scenes where you start sort of blowing up stuff and there's a lot of alpha effects, then the Xbox One does tend to drop sort of around sort of 5-10 frames, which basically means the experience during those periods isn't quite as smooth as on PS4. Overall though, it doesn't happen all that often in gameplay. As you can see, a lot of the scenes we see here in the shootouts go by smoothly.
Yeah, it's mostly 60, which is good. And I suppose it sets a good precedent for the other Resident Evil remasters, doesn't it?
I'm kind of hoping that as this one is running in 1080p 60, that they do the same thing for Resident Evils 4 and 5.
So we've seen gameplay so far, but how do the cutscenes play out? The parts of the game which are all in engine but gives purely like-for-like sides of the game in all three formats?
Well, on PlayStation 4 again it's locked 60 FPS, so it's consistent throughout. Xbox One we do see some sort of frame rate drops from time to time. Again, mainly alpha effects, when there's lots of sort of special effects going on, that tends to happen.
Yeah, the usual culprits then.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable seeing a difference of 40 frames per second between the two versions at one point there. 360 dropping to 20 while the others are at 60. That's quite a margin we rarely see in these comparisons, and that kind of justifies having such a wide graph.
Yeah, and it's a massive. It's the cutscenes especially going to 60. The smoothness is just really impressive. It's nice and fluid. Whereas on like 360 and indeed the PS3 version, there was a lot of judder that kind of took you out of the experience at points. And that's the one thing this remaster completely solves, because it is so much smoother and so much more consistent. The animation appears a lot more fluid, and again, sort of when it ties into gameplay being more responsive, the experience just flows so much more seamlessly when you're playing it. You don't have to fight the controls or anything, so it's a major upgrade in that respect.
So it's good news for Resident Evil 6 fans.
Okay, that's all we've got for today. We will be doing a more in-depth analysis on the title in another video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But until then, if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to give us a like or subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching.
Shit!